Hi, my name is Andrew Maston. I'm the Director of Operations at ID Prospects, an international youth basketball scouting service. And one of the tools that we use at ID Prospects that I love is InStat. It's probably the most helpful tool that we have. And obviously, you can use the regular search on InStat. You can do the flag search, which allows you to, look at certain leagues and everything. But my favorite tool, I think, on InStat is the Smart Search right here. So you can see right now there's over 30,000 players. Since we usually tend to look at youth players, I'll go to say 18 for now, and that'll narrow it down to 885. You see the players are in an order based on this InStat index, which is just I don't know exactly how it works. It's a number that comes from the different stats and everything, and it's not an exact rating, but it gives a good idea. You can see Dyson Daniels has only played one game, but if you look at the guys right below him, John Montero, Yannick and Sosa, these are our second and our first, I guess, players in our 2003 born rankings, which is the oldest group you're going to get if you go 18 and under. It's going to be, we're in 2021, it's going to be players born 2003 or younger. So even if they're born in 2002 but haven't quite turned 18 yet, they'll still be, they still won't be on here. So 2003 or younger is what we're looking at. So like I said, top two players in our 2003 generation right there, 2004. You'll get a couple college players. I haven't, I'm not looking at certain leagues right now. So Pablo Juba is a player from Ukraine and Barcelona that plays at Arizona State now. So you'll have some players, obviously, that are not international, but for what we're looking at, I'm looking for international players that are kind of standing out with their stats that maybe aren't on a lot of radars. It's like a guy like, um, Jacob Patrick, for example. He's playing for Ludwigsburg in the basketball Bundesliga, and you can see right here. I mean, playing 7.5 minutes a game, for a younger 2003 born player, recently turned 18, or recently turned 17, not even 18 yet, and at that age to be playing at this level, it's pretty impressive. And so these are the kind of guys that maybe will be slipping through the cracks, but when you use this search function, it'll stand out a little bit. So obviously 885 players, we can't watch them all, so narrow down. One thing I like to do is just look for shooters, look for a guy having a good shooting season. Um, and then you want to get maybe a little bit, narrow down a little bit by sample size. So again, we've narrowed it down a little bit. We're actually down to 17 players that fit all three of our requirements so far. And it's a pretty good group. I mean, you see these top two guys are, I think, top 5 or 6 players in our 2003 born generation rankings. And so you obviously have guys that show up at the top with their InStat index, with a high InStat index like Mandzukic and Jugic. But you also find the guys that maybe aren't already on rankings like ours. And this is kind of how we find those guys, maybe the under the radar guys and stuff like that. This is one of the ways that we do with the smart search. It's one of the ways that we can find players who are not exactly on a lot of people's radars. The players that are having a breakout season and all that. It's hard with so many different leagues we're watching. It's sometimes hard to find those guys, and so this is one way that we can see everybody's stats in one place, see the guys who are standing out. So now let's go back and do another kind of search, and we have all these different. Let's go by assists. Let's say per game. 3 assists. Assists is one of those stats that really translates between the different levels that a player's playing at. So it can be a good way to really see the guys that will be able to take that next step to another level. So you see, I mean, we have 36 guys right here. And then one thing we can do is we can check any of these boxes and we can sort by whatever we want in here. So let's say true shooting percentage, or let's say assist to turnover actually. So now you have assist to turnovers down here. You can go down here, say at least 2. So now we're probably down to a small number here, down to 8. So again, it's pretty low sample size with all these guys, but it can still give you an idea. I mean, 140 minutes is still, that's a decent amount. So it can give you an idea of the players that you need to watch, and players that are, like I said, having breakout years and stuff like that. So in the hungry U20 leagues, U18 leagues, again, not one of the highest levels, but that film is here. Go to the box score, you can see the players that are standing out there, and you can see he didn't have a great game this game, but he's qualifies for our assists. And again, that's we're looking at players that can play the U18 level and lower. So that's the U20 level. Go to the U18 level here. I would assume he's had a better game. Yeah. Well, he got to the line a lot. Didn't shoot the ball well this game, but and I can click on his shooting, see if there's maybe something with his shot that needs to be fixed or whatever. Like any of that is just so easy to do with InStat to just it's just a couple clicks away. Let's say he's got a decent looking shot. I wonder if it's just the percentages. Percentages are low, but the free throw shooting percentage is decent, so it kind of gives you some hope for him. But again, he's one of these guys that stands out with the assist to turnover ratio, the steals. A guy that 2004 born, so he's playing U20 at 17. So a guy that we'll probably have to keep our eye on that maybe we wouldn't have found or we wouldn't have found as quickly without this smart search.